Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at another one of the buffed Pokemon in Season 13 of Go Battle League, Wing Attack Mantine. Mantine is a water and flying type Pokemon with the moveset of Wing Attack, Bubble Beam, and Ice Beam. Now Mantine has some pretty nice bulk to it, so combining that with the increased energy generation of Wing Attack, this thing is now an absolute threat in the Remix Cup. I paired it up with an Exca on the lead and a Jumpluff as the closer, and had all positive sets. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out Mantine in action in the Remix Cup. Hopping into the first match, picking up a tough lead, Excadrill into Marshtomp. I'm going to farm up 5 Mud Shots, switch, but unfortunately I'm not able to catch onto my Mantine. This is a purified Marshtomp, so they could be running Return, and they are, as Return is able to land. My opponent is going to send in Pelipper, and I'm going to start spamming out Ice Beams with Mantine. First Ice Beam is able to land, dealing some nice damage onto the Pelipper. Pelipper goes for a Weather Ball, and here's where the bulk of Mantine comes in clutch. I'm able to tank the Weather Ball, and with the extra energy generation, reach an Ice Beam. This Ice Beam will KO if they let it through, and they do, and just like that, I am able to take switch advantage. Marshtomp going for the farm down, but Mud-Shotting down a Mantine is a very tall task. I'm able to reach the Ice Beam gets them low, and Mantine by itself takes out 2 of my opponent's Pokemon. In the back, they have Noctowl, and Noctowl is about to get absolutely shredded by Exca. Something that I noticed is that in the Remix Cup, since Galarian Stunfisk is banned, a lot of people are not prepared for the rock ground coverage, so running a Pokemon like Exca can honestly put in a ton of work for you. They are still trying to play this out. They shield, so I am definitely going to shield as well. They go for the Shadow Ball. I will be able to outpace the Owl and reach a Rock Slide. This Rock Slide will of course KO if they let it through. Rock Slide is shielded. My opponent tried to protect the Owl, and I feel like at this point I may as well show them my third Pokemon, so I decide to let this go. Shadow Ball is going to KO, and Jumpluff will be able to clean up this game. Jumpluff and Mantine are both extremely tanky, so even though they're hitting for super effective damage on the Jumpluff tanks it like it's nothing, returns fire with the acrobatics, and that is a good game. Moving into the next match, picking up a pretty nice lead, Exca into Frostlass. If they stay in, I am definitely staying in as well. My opponent is going to save switch into Hypno of all things. I'm going to stay in with Exca and fire off this Drill Run. Drill Run will do some solid chip damage. I'm going to farm up 2 more Mud Shots, switch, and then catch onto Jumpluff. Jumpluff is extremely tanky, so I'll be able to absorb this damage no problem. My opponent is actually running Thunder Punch, and the fact that they went for a Thunder Punch versus a ground type probably means they're running Shadow Ball as their second move. They do fire off the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball will connect. My goal here is to actually slightly undercharge this Energy Ball and leave with some energy. So I'm going to undercharge to a Great, and that is going to allow me to farm down, but they're actually able to save the Hypno on very low HP and bring back in the Frostlass. Acrobatics gets the shield. Frostlass is going to get the farm down. I'm going to send in Exca and just go for the extra energy here. My goal is to double up on charge moves and really apply a lot of pressure onto this Frostlass. I am at the back-to-back Rock Slides, and now it's decision time for my opponent. Rock Slide gets shielded. I'm firing off Rock Slide number 2. This will come very close to taking out the Frostlass. Frostlass on very low HP, able to reach the last second move. I'm going to let this go, trusting in Mantine, as Mantine up a shield is dominant. And in the back, they have Noctowl. All I have to do is avoid a potential catch. So as you see there, I actually wait a turn to make sure their Wing Attack goes through, and then fire off the Ice Beam. Ice Beam deals a ton of damage. I'm just going to continue to farm in this matchup. They're going to fire off a Sky Attack, perfectly fine by me, and I just have to watch for the catch here. Opponent tries to go for the catch. They fail it, and that is a good game. Neutral lead in the next match, Exca into Pelipper. I am going to stay in this matchup to start, but I will look to catch out of it, because due to the Wing Attack buff, Pelipper does outpace me to my second charge move. The first one is going to be on CMP. I fire off the Rock Slide, they commit the shield, so I'm definitely going to be shielding back. And since I do win CMP, they have no incentive to overfarm on this next move, so I'm going to throw 4 Mud Shots, switch, and then catch onto Mantine. You love to see it. Mantine going to be able to absorb that Weather Ball damage, no problem. Pelipper actually staying in here. I'm going to farm up, fire off the Ice Beam. Since they're staying in, I definitely want to get this damage off. Ice Beam is going to get Pelipper low. Pelipper does have enough for the Hurricane. I decide to let this through. They do full send the Hurricane, and I'm able to tank the Hurricane and reach a last second Bubble Beam. Again, the bulk of Mantine coming in clutch. Bubble Beam KOs, and I win switch, and that proves to be very important as they have a Guzzlord in the back. Guzzlord definitely not going to appreciate this fairy wind damage. Guzzlord is going to be firing off a Crunch. Crunch is able to connect in the back. They have Steelix, and Steelix is going to get absolutely shredded by these drill runs. Drill run number 1 is going to connect, dealing so much damage to the Steelix. Steelix is at enough for a Crunch here. I respect it, and they do full send the Crunch. This will allow me to overfarm quite a bit in this matchup. I don't even have to hit any bubbles, as this will definitely KO. They're going to let it go, trusting in the Guzzlord, but I'll be able to grab their final shield with this drill run, and I should have a move loaded on my Jumpluff. They actually decide to let it through, but they go for the farm down, and this one, now they're going to have to shield. Drill run gets the shield, aggressive switch into the Jumpluff. I accidentally click on the wrong move, but it doesn't matter. Energy Ball will KO and get the win. Dream lead in the next match, Excadrill into Steelix. My opponent is going to throw one Dragon Tail, save switch into Frostlass, and they are absolutely core broken by Exca. I fire off the Rock Slide, that deals so much damage, and now I can send in Mantine to absorb this energy. Mantine is going to tank this Avalanche no problem. It doesn't even do half. And here, I actually decide to let them get some extra Powder Snows, so that way I can limit the amount of farm the Steelix is going to get. My opponent is waiting their clock, and they're going to send back in Steelix. I can hit for super effective damage with Bubble Beam, but I actually decide to opt for the higher damage Ice Beam in this moment, because that way, they're not going to get any extra farm after lowering their Dragon Tail damage. I fire off another Ice Beam. This will get them low, so we do actually grab a shield from the Steelix. That is quite nice. I'm going to bring back in Exca with 2 shields. I'm expecting they're going to Psychic Fangs bait, and they do. You love to see it. Exca continues to farm. They're just going to go straight Fangs here, but a Psychic Fangs at -1 does quite a bit of damage. They're staying in, so I'm going straight for the Drill Run. This Drill Run is definitely going to hurt. It KOs the Steelix in the back. They have Galarian Rapidash, and this game should be over. Galar Rapidash can output a nice amount of damage, but it's pretty glassy, so they are not going to appreciate this acrobatics whatsoever. Jumpluff, acrobatics, massive damage, nearly taking out the Rapidash. Rapidash must be running high horsepower because they are forced to spam out body slams in this matchup. I will go for the Energy Ball just to pressure their final shield. My opponent is going to commit the shield. They are desperately trying to get this win, and unfortunately, Rapidash is just not going to be able to do enough here. Body Slam, still not enough to KO Jumpluff, and that is a good game. Tricky lead in the next match, Excadrill into Unova Stunfisk. Stunfisk is definitely a scary Pokemon for this team to see, as it can hit 2 of the team members for super effective damage. I fire off the Drill Run on the CMP tie. My opponent is going to commit the shield and return fire with the Mud Bomb. They do outpace me by 1 to the second one, so similar to how I played the Pelipper matchup, I'm going to farm up 4, switch, and catch the Mud Bomb onto Jumpluff. This is a triple resisted Mud Bomb, doing absolutely no damage. My opponent is going to stay in here. They want to bank another Mud Bomb for later, and they're going to send in Noctowl. Now, this is a Grass type going up against the Flying type, but look how much damage Jumpluff can do in this matchup. Jumpluff is also incredibly powerful in this meta. They go for the Sky Attack. Jumpluff shrugs it off like it's nothing, and I'm able to reach another Acrobatics. This will be putting the Noctowl deep into the red. Noctowl lets it through. Noctowl is not going to be able to farm down, so they're forced to fire off a last-second charge move, and that is perfect for me. This will allow me to Mudshot down with Exca and get a small energy lead over the Fisk. They're going to send back in the Fisk. I'm going straight for the Drill Run. This Drill Run is definitely going to hurt. Drill Run gets the shield. My opponent is going to overfarm and then fire off a charge move. I'm expecting a catch, so I'm going to throw one Mud Shot and wait a turn. I throw a Mud Shot, wait a turn, but my opponent waited a turn as well, and they make a beautiful catch onto Pelipper. As I like to say, one good catch deserves another, so I return the favor, catching the weather ball aimed at my Exca onto Mantine. Mantine now in a fantastic position to take care of this Pelipper. I'm able to outpace and reach the Ice Beam. This Ice Beam will do quite a lot of damage to the Pelipper. Ice Beam plus a wing attack KOs the Pelipper. Back in comes Unova Stunfisk. They are farming up, but they lose CMP to Mantine on the Bubble Beam. Bubble Beam will, of course, hit for super effective damage and lower their attack. They're going to fire off a charge move here. They go for the discharge. Discharge is not enough to KO. They're trying to go for a mud shot farm down, but Mantine is just too tanky. They're forced to fire off a mud bomb. I have the drill run loaded on my Exca. This will easily be taking down the Unova Stunfisk and securing the win. Nightmare lead in the next match, Excadrill into Buzzwole. I will immediately save switch into Mantine, and my opponent will respond with Ferrothorn. Not the greatest spot to be in, but the Ferrothorn throws on 4. This is a power whip, meaning they do not have Thunder. And if that's the case, I can make a play for switch. To start with, I'm going to spam out these Bubble Beams to lower their attack as much as possible. This will allow me to live a second power whip and shield a third, and based on that, I should be able to flip switch. I fire off that second Bubble Beam, that's perfectly fine. They're going to go for a Power Whip, but as you're going to see after the debuffs, this Power Whip just does absolutely nothing, and I can start spamming out these Ice Beams. Ice Beam number 1 is going to land, and that's going to get them quite low. Actually, I think I can shield once and farm all the way down here, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. Power Whip gets the shield, Mantine gets the farm down, and leaves with energy. I'm just going to blind Ice Beam, but my opponent recognizes my plan and sends in Aurorus. Man, that is not great. I'm going to bring in Exca, going straight for the Drill Run, but my opponent is playing so well as they catch Drill Run onto Buzzwole. Absolutely beautiful plays by my opponent, and with that catch, it's looking like they are going to be able to win this game. Buzzwole is going to spam out lunges here. Lunge will, of course, hit for neutral onto the grass flying typing. I'm going for an incredibly aggressive farm down with my Jumpluff. They fire off another lunge. Jumpluff is going to be able to tank it. Jumpluff incredibly low. Leaves with some energy. Hopefully I can reach the double energy ball, but they hit for double super effective damage, so I do fall short, and unfortunately, this is looking like it's game over, as Aurorus just has a massive amount of energy. They fire off the weather ball. That does so much damage. Excadrill is a very powerful pick, but it is so glassy, and as you're gonna see, I am going to get, well, I was going to say farm down, but Aurorus gets to another charge move anyway. Weather Ball will take me out, and unfortunately, we do fall short. Moving into the final match, picking up a pretty decent lead, Excadrill into Galarian Rapidash. Opponent is going to save switch into Obstagoon, and I will respond with Jumpluff. Jumpluff will, of course, be resisting the counters while hitting for super effective damage with Fairy Wind. This is actually an obstruct Obstagoon, so they're able to boost their defense while simultaneously lowering mine. I fire off an Acrobatics, as I do want to land that damage before they're able to get a second debuff off. They are going to fire off a second obstruct, so they are very committed to buffing themselves and debuffing my Jumpluff. I will fire off another Acrobatics. They are now at +2 defense, so they are barely able to hang on and reach a last second Night Slash. This Night Slash will do some solid damage since I am double debuffed, but I will get the farm down. They're going to send in Galarian Rapidash, looking for the farm down. I don't really want to give them a farm down, so what I'm going to do is fire off the Acrobatics and then pivot into Mantine. Most Galar Rapidash are running high horsepower as the second move, so they're stuck going for Body Slam, which is non-stab. They'll fire off another Body Slam, that is perfectly fine by me. I'm going to let that through. Body Slam not going to do a ton of damage, and I'll go straight for the Ice Beam. Ice Beam will definitely hurt if it lands, and it does, getting the Rapidash low. Rapidash continues to farm. I probably do need to start shielding, so I am going to shield up and look for the farm down. My opponent is going to switch in the back. They have Toxicroak, and I'm just going to start spamming out these Bubble Beams. I may be pretty low HP, but these wing attacks plus the Bubble Beams are going to absolutely tear through the Toxie. I'm firing off Bubble Beam number 2. They're going to let that go. They are trying for the farm down, and they're able to get it. I will bring in the Jumpluff, and this will force them to Sludge Bomb, as a Mud Bomb is not going to KO. My opponent goes for the Mud Bomb. They get farmed down, and that is a good game. All in all, I left feeling very impressed with Mantine's performance. The combination of the increased spammability of its charge moves, plus its natural bulk, leaves it to be a true meta threat in the Remix Cup, especially on the safe switch. And as for the team as a whole, I feel like it had great synergy. The glassy Exca being able to spam out hard-hitting charge moves, and the two bulky flyers in the back getting to protect it against ground types and fighters. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.